Good morning, Professor Tevet. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce your name, but I am doing a video, as you can see, regarding analyzing Arizona's language development approach. I decided to do a video because somebody once told me that I have a great face for radio. Anyways, number one, terminology and explaining Arizona's definition of an English learner. An English learner is considered someone a student whose native language is not English. So they speak in a language like Spanish, French, German, Native American, or somewhere like that. And these students usually struggle to learn, read, and do anything in the English language because they don't understand the English language yet. So they're starting off with a little bit of a handbridge. So also, to explain briefly, discuss the distinctions between models, ESL students are described as English as a second language, which means there's a program offered to help them with their English skills and improve their English skills. The bilingual programs also use in a larger number, when that means a larger number of students, like 60 to 80% or somewhere around there probably, speak a different language. So the instruction turns to Spanish. So bilingual programs are used when the majority of the students speak a different language, speak one language, which is not English, but it helps English and Spanish learners. A sheltered English instruction means that the teacher uses English as a medium for instruction, as in a neutral ground. So the students speak more than one language besides English, which is Spanish and maybe French or Portuguese. Excuse me. And so they just shelter in English to encompass and get everything in there going together. Let me see here. The English structured immersion. That one means students are taught in the language that they are supposed to learn. So if they're supposed to learn English or Spanish, and they do not hear their own language because they're immersed in English. So that means if when trying to learn English and I speak Spanish, the teacher knows both English and Spanish, but primarily uses English because we're trying to learn and immerse and become an immersion program. I've seen this in Utah before we moved out of there. Pretty cool stuff. What they do is they have an English immersion or Spanish immersion. Half the day they learn in Spanish and they learn to speak Spanish. And going for number two, Arizona's principal language for development approach. So I am going to describe a theory or synthesis from the research around ELLs. So this refers to instructions of language and skills of English language learning students and the proficiency to engage in English content by learning to use data to determine what to teach EL students. So what that means is just instruction to help English language learning students. And the student agency encourages students to take the initiative and kind of take the reins out of their own education and be motivated enough to achieve on their own and work harder. So that's pretty cool stuff. So kind of work on your own. The 4 principles of Arizona language development approach. This refers specifically focus on language skills, knowledge, and abilities of a group of EL students based on proficiency level, which means that students will work with people according to what they're able to do in their language, like their abilities as far as education. The SEI newcomer model. This includes 100 minutes a day of targeted English language development, and students in their first year are pre-emergent ELs. They have 100 minutes per week of language instruction within the integrated settings of all English language students. The SEI 2-hour model. This provides 2 hours of targeted English language development, which also is support for English language development and integrated into mainstream classes. So your regular general education classes, it's also embedded in there, and the targeted classes are only for English learners. And yeah, so this includes math, science, and social studies. The SEL pull-out model, which is what our school uses, they pull out students and put them in a separate room, is 1 hour targeted English language development by the ELD specialist outside of the mainstream classroom. So general education, you'll be pulled out and you'll be learning strictly just the language instead of learning a subject or a material, which also can include math, science, or social studies. which is a little different. So the 50-50 immersion, this one's pretty interesting. I thought it was interesting because it talks about they use a 50-50 model, 50 in English and 50 in the other language, but the student gets 100% of the core curriculum. So the teacher, the student will be able to receive all the credit for the general education classes. And so how Arizona determines ELL eligibility, the English language learner eligibility, there's a test they take, and in Arizona it's called the Azalea test, and that also gives you the result to see if you're going to be in the program or not, but also it's used to reassess and see if you're going to stay in the program or get out of the program. My nephews, one of them passed it like in one of his first years, and the other one is a freshman, and I think he didn't pass it last year, but he'll pass it this year, I hope. And accommodations for students is, some of the accommodations are providing a wall with keywords, provides models of completed homework assignments. You show kids how to do things. You point a lot. There's little different things like that for assignments and projects. And ensure tests are clear and concise and easy to read, and provide text and resources and curriculum for all reading levels. So there's a lot to it, and this assignment was driving me crazy. And I hope I learned a lot, and there's a lot more to learn. Thank you. Have a good day.